Hi there, Eric Bakker. Good to be back. Going to talk again about gut bacteria, the microbiome, what we know and what we don't know. And again, I apologize if my speech seems a bit funny because I'm getting some work done on my teeth and I sound a bit clunky and all over the place. So let's look now at the microbiome and human health, what we do know. Well, up until now, science, and I can probably cite you 50 papers. I can give you links for at least 50 or 100 papers where science has been validating absolutely in the last 10 to 20 years how bacteria, if we influence them in the gut, have a profound effect on inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, for example, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. This is where medical science initially focused its attention on functional gastrointestinal disorders, constipation, diarrhea, bloating, farting. They worked out that a lot of those conditions could be very much improved by recommending probiotics to people. Initially, when I recommended probiotics, 25 years ago, even 30 years ago, people laughed at it. They said, probiotics, that's what you take when you've got diarrhea, isn't it? I said, no, that's what you take if you want to feel better overall, if you want to have a better mood. But you imagine the pioneers, particularly in America, like Dr. Kem Shahani, the Pakistani microbiologist, who came to the States in the 60s and who started talking this kind of language. That guy was told to go and see a psychiatrist, because they thought this guy was a nut job. They believed in those days that all bacteria made people sick. There was no possible way that bacteria could actually influence people in a positive way. Now that was actually in the years I was born in the 60s. And when you think about it, we've come a hell of a long way in the last 50, 60 years in terms of the human microbiome. Can you imagine what we'll be talking about in the next 50 to 60 years? We won't be focusing on giving anti-drugs anymore. We'll be focusing on giving probiotics. We'll be focusing on natural medicines. It'll be fantastic to be around in those days to see that all this work was seriously validated and a lot of the anti-therapies were pushed aside because they're not working anyway, clearly not working. So let's look, for example, at the change, what's occurring now with women who traditionally always delivered babies vaginally and occasionally C-section. New Zealand has got one of the highest C-section rates in the world. I think it's like 30% or more of women, could be 40% of women now don't even deliver babies vaginally anymore. They're C-section. And a lot of them are elective C-sections. So, the woman's booked in because she wants to go to a wedding or she wants to do this, so the baby will be delivered by C-section. It's crazy. When a baby's delivered by C-section, it's missing out on that vaginal and gastrointestinal flora that the woman's got. So it's very much shortchanged. It's not going to really get the bacteria conferred to it, through the maternal factor. So they found out that those children are a lot more prone to allergies and are getting a lot sicker and having a lot of issues, in their childhood with various elements of their development. In particular, they're lacking the bifidobacteria. They're even following kids now all the way through till 10, 12, 15, and they're noticing that the bifido counts are much lower than babies that have been delivered vaginally. That's quite profound when you think about it. So what we do also know now, for example, is that there are many cells in the gastrointestinal system, especially the small intestine, that are probably more effective at producing neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin than actually the brain itself. And we also know that by positively influencing this environment and improving the microbiome with the correct kind of diet and probiotics, that we can actually take anxiety and depression away from people. They've done multiple studies at universities now, and again, you can Google this yourself, where they can take fecal content from a very depressed person, put it into a sterile mouse, so a mouse's gut has been sterilized from bacteria, and within literally weeks, that mouse gets very anxious and depressed. And vice versa, they can transfer that rat, bacteria then to another rat or another creature. They've done rabbit studies, all sorts of animal studies, and they've found the same thing holds. That bacteria translocation or transferal can actually change the mood, of the organism. That's phenomenal news for someone like you out there who may suffer from anxiety or depression, for example. But I think it's going to go a lot further. They're going to work out that bacteria influence every single aspect of our being. And the healthier the gut, the healthier the human. So what we don't know is exactly how far this is going to go. And there's two ways it could go. It could go the way I would like it to go, but it could also go the way I don't like it to go, where they're going to link certain types of gut bacteria up with certain diseases, and again patent that and make a pill out of it, you know, and then make billions out of it, and then get side effects again, and we're on that whole drug merry-go-round again. So that's what I don't want to see happen. But, you know, if money's still around in hundreds of years, that's maybe what will happen. There's always people trying to profit seriously, you know, over any kind of knowledge that's really going to benefit humanity, you know, as a whole. So take from this video the fact that the better your microbiome, the better your health. The better your diet, the better your microbiome, the better your health. And that's what it's all about. It's eating a good diet, plant-based, vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, the right type of fats, and then putting that in a gut, you know, that's obviously in an environment of low stress. I've spoken a lot about this in other videos. When you work along that line, you're bound to get great health. Catch up in the next video.